Hi, friends. I'm Coach Ali, and I wanted to come on and make a video today about how this whole thing starts and how we want to respond. When you first initially develop insomnia, it is a really scary place to be. And I understand because I've been there. This can turn into many different chronic conditions as well. So there's a whole host of mind-body conditions that they can present after we have developed one. It's really, really common. So you might have chronic insomnia or chronic anxiety or chronic pain or OCD or, the list can be really long, but essentially they work very similarly in the brain. And so I wanted to come on today and make a video about exactly this. And I want to also say that I've been there. I am a recovered person that struggled and what was deep in the insomnia struggle, chronic insomnia, chronic anxiety, and have since recovered and am now helping others recover as well as a certified coach. But I know the struggle. I've been there and I know how scary it is. I wanted to make a video for you today that actually is a video I wish was available when I first found myself in this predicament, right? So that's what I'm here to do today. I can't sleep and I'm freaking out. Help. When we experience a night that doesn't go the way that we generally have our nights go, right? Sleep comes, we lay down and we fall asleep. And when something is amiss or something changes in that scenario and we don't actually fall asleep, there is a tendency for us to react to that in a way that will signal to the brain that it's a problem, that it's a threat. We're not necessarily doing this intentionally, and it really has a lot to do with our relationship with sleep in general. But for many, many people, myself included, that relationship with sleep was pretty attached. I put it on a pedestal. I wanted to protect sleep. I was I just was one of those people that sleep was always really important to me, like probably overly so. I mean, definitely overly so now looking back. But so when I had that experience of not sleeping well, just one night, I didn't sleep well one night. I had a sleepless night and I really freaked out and it snowballed from there. And I started trying all the things. You Google this and you're going to get a whole host of unhelpful information because here is the biggest thing I want you to know. Insomnia is a fear problem. Insomnia is not a sleep problem. Insomnia happens when our nervous system is alerted that there is a danger. And so this part of our brain that is our threat detection system, it's called the amygdala. It's located in our limbic system. The part of our brain that is scanning for threat, it tags that as a danger because of how we have responded to it, because we're freaking out, essentially. So when we are responding with something's wrong, this is not okay, this shouldn't be happening, that puts my nervous system in a state of high alert. And it has to do its job, which is to keep me alive. It is a survival machine, and its only job is to make sure that I stay alive. And the only way that it knows how to do this is as an evolutionary thing that is in our brain, in this limbic system part of our brain, the most instinctive part of our brain. The only way it has to protect us from danger is to ignite threat physiology and this activation in our nervous system known as fight or flight. Now, when this occurs, and it's called fight or flight for a reason, because our nervous system is preparing us to fight or to flee. And it's going to be sending us very uncomfortable signals via our thoughts, emotions, and different bodily sensations. All of those are messages to get us to do something about this danger. And that is why it feels so intense. There's often panic. There's often, this real terror. And we're just freaking out that something is really, really wrong. But I can assure you that nothing is wrong. Your brain has just misidentified being awake at night as dangerous, as a threat that it needs to protect you from. So it doesn't take long for the brain to develop what we call a conditioned loop or a conditioned fear response. Because when the brain is alerted that something is dangerous and its sole purpose is to keep you alive, it is going to latch onto that thing with everything it has to protect you from it. And so it is going to feel very intense. It's essentially 5 alarm system going off in your brain and body. And it feels uncomfortable as anything it could ever feel, but that is by design. It is because the brain is trying to get your attention. And it's very good at this, right? I mean, all these intrusive thoughts, all of these really scary thoughts, all of these sensations, heart palpitations, sweating, going to the bathroom a million times, these thoughts that come into our heads like, what's happening? Something's wrong. How's this ever going to end? What is going to happen to my life? And all of these really catastrophic thoughts. This is normal. This is part of the brain trying to protect you, trying to get you to do something about it. And what I really, really want you to hear is that it's all temporary. This is not a fixed state. You can get out of this. The way out is through. And the way out is accepting that we responded in such a way that ignited this threat detection system to send out the alarms. It is sending out all the alarms. All the alarm systems are on, and all hands are on deck to protect us from this threat. In this particular instance, however, the threat is not real. It is perceived. It is not an actual danger to be awake at night. Everything about being in a fight or flight response feels like an emergency. It's supposed to, because your brain is trying to keep you alive, and that is its sole purpose and its sole job. So the way out of this is through, and it's understanding that our reaction by saying this is a problem, something is really wrong, we've got to do something about this, our brain is going to come online and say, okay, I'm going to help you. I'm going to put you in this protective state to keep you safe. But the idea is here that this state in the nervous system keeps us in high alert, hyper vigilant mode. And rest is not meant to happen when we are in that mode. It is complete opposite of that. It wants to keep us alert, right? So we first have to get ourselves to a state that we understand what's happening. So we know this is actually not dangerous. And the way we're responding is actually confirming a perceived danger to my brain, not a real one. By me responding with, oh no, something's really wrong, I have to fix this, it's going to keep my nervous system really heightened, and it's going to keep confirming that this thing is dangerous, which it's not. So we have to change our relationship to these sensations within our body, for sure, and also with whatever it is that is the primary fear that has ignited our threat detection system, and is that it has now activated a loop, a conditioned loop, a fear response, right? So in this case, what we're talking about is insomnia. So the primary threat that the brain has identified is being awake at night or not sleeping. That's the threat. That's what it's detected as dangerous. Now, logically, we can understand that there's nothing dangerous about being awake at night. It's just dark outside instead of light. There's nothing physically dangerous about being awake at night in our bed, in our safe, cozy bed, in our safe, cozy home, right? There's nothing dangerous about that. But the brain is under the impression that there is a tiger running after us, that it has to protect us from. So it is acting as though that's what's happening, because it doesn't know the difference between real or perceived. So this is when we have to start changing our responses to what is happening, changing our reactions to being awake at night. This concept called befriending wakefulness. But before we can do any of that, we have to move the dial from freak out mode or panic mode out of that survival mode and into a little bit more awareness, allowance, and acceptance that this is what's happening right now. It isn't dangerous. It's very uncomfortable, and it's also temporary. If we can move that dial down a bit and come just out of that survival mode, that intense 24/7 hypervigilant state, that is going to start to signal safety to the scared part of my brain. And we do this by reacting to the symptoms, whether it's being awake at night or the sensations we're feeling or whatever it is, in a new way. And that is to say, I'm no longer going to freak out because I understand what's happening. I understand it's just my brain trying to protect me. It's been misinformed. And so the power lies within me to actually respond in this new way and teach my brain that it's actually safe. The difficult part about this is that when your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight mode, it's basically like that it flipped on the on switch, right? And the alarm bells are sounding 24/7. What we need to understand is they're false alarms. They're not real. There's not a real threat. So they're all false alarms, but they feel very real and they're very loud and it's trying to get you to, do something. So we need to understand that piece. And then I think that what happens is this word survival mode, like I've been in survival mode, it kind of gets thrown around a lot and maybe it's misunderstood as well. Because if we are actually in survival mode, it essentially means that our nervous system has gone into sensitization. We're in a highly sensitized nervous system, which means that it is on constant alert mode, constant threat detection mode, right? And so it can start just tagging everything as dangerous, right? Whether that's a thought or a feeling or a sensation or anything. It's going to start tagging everything as dangerous because it is so hypersensitized, right? So in order for us to actually see the forest through the trees, we have to come down a notch or two out of hypersensitization, out of survival mode, out of that 24/7 hypervigilant mode. And that happens by understanding that this is actually not dangerous, that I am responding in a way that is igniting this in my nervous system. And if I can accept that this is what is happening right now, this is what is here right now, this is my brain that has been misinformed, and I can show it a new way. And it's going to take time. This doesn't happen overnight. But this is how we start to move the dial out of survival mode, out of that hypervigilant state. This starts to signal safety to the nervous system. And then there's lots of wonderful practices that we can implement, like befriending wakefulness and, understanding that even though we do not want to be awake at night, we prefer to be asleep. Of course, all humans prefer to sleep well. That's just a given. But we don't have direct control over sleep. That isn't an outcome that we have direct control over. No human does. So if we can understand that where we put more effort and we put more pressure on ourselves to sleep, right? Like it's like this, I have to sleep or else, that is so much pressure. And sleep is a passive process. It happens without effort. So the more effort we apply to it, the more elusive it becomes, right? So it's about taking ourselves out of the equation a bit and understanding that this is just a big misidentified threat that my brain has honed in on and now is running a fear program around it, a neural loop. And that is not a permanent state. I can interrupt that loop. I can show the brain a new way. And it happens gradually, it happens slowly, but it starts with accepting this is what has happened. This is what's going on in my brain. It isn't permanent. And I'm going to continue to live my life as best I can, knowing that this is just a big misunderstanding. There's nothing actually threatening here, nothing dangerous. It takes time. It takes this understanding, and it takes a lot of courage. And more than that, even though, self-kindness, self-acceptance, being gentle with ourselves and taking that dial down from the intensity, from the freak out, from the I have to fix this, I got to figure this out. That keeps our nervous system in high alert. So you're going to be okay. That's the biggest thing I want you to know. You are going to be okay. This is temporary. It is not your forever, and it will be okay. Things will change. Things will get better. It's a process. It's one step at a time. It's understanding, being aware, and then accepting that this is what is happening right now and moving through. The way out is through. And it's doable. I promise that it is. There's support if you need it. I'm here. There's wonderful programs online that can help as well. If you need one-on-one support, reach out. I just hope that that gives you a little bit of hope and just knowing that you're not alone. I've been through this. I know what it is. I really, really do. And I can help you if you need some additional one-on-one support. Just send me a message and we'll set up something so we can talk in person. I appreciate your time being here. You're going to be okay.